bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
It's bow time. You've probably heard folks say, don't call it a comeback. But at Bojangles, we don't like to beat around the bush. So when the sizzling, savory pork chop griller's back in all its tender, marinated, chili lime glory, and you can snap up 2 of them for $6, go ahead, call it a comeback. Get 2 legendary pork chop grillers for just $6, only at Bojangles. It's bow time.
With a house surrounded by pine trees planted in 1961, April and I knew it was time to do something about it. So we called James Paul. With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Hey everybody, this is Darryl Worley, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. Hey, step up and make a difference like he does.
Hey y'all, this is Jeff Foxworthy, and you can make a huge difference in somebody's life. You just may not have figured out how yet, and that's why you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi, this is Maggie Peterson. I played Charlene Darling on The Andy Griffith Show, and you are listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi folks, this is Ricky Skaggs, and you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hello, I'm Gene Stallings, and this is The Mark White Show. Get off the sideline and get involved and make a difference in your community.
You are listening to The Mark White Show. My daddy is your host, Mark White.
welcome to another edition of The Mark White Show. I'm coming to you from Madison, Alabama, as we are recognizing veterans through Lettermen of the USA and Semper Fi. Right now I have with me Dave Bonwit with Semper Fi. Welcome to the Mark White Show, Dave.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Before this interview, we were talking about the effect, the impact that the organization and other organizations that are here to help veterans can have to put a person on the right path. They see people who have common circumstances, and it can be powerful for them.
Absolutely. A lot of times what happens is a service member will get injured in theater, and he gets medevaced back to the hospital, and then he goes through his recovery and then his treatments afterwards. And meanwhile, his family is at home, and his spouse or significant other is taking care of the house, the kids, the dogs, the cars, and him. And they've been doing this from the beginning of the deployment, and this could go on for years. And the spouse is sometimes the forgotten hero when we talk about heroes, taking care of their family member, taking care of their loved one. So we bring the spouse with the service member to Heroes Week, and we give them the welcome home that they may never have received, and make sure that the spouse is included as well, because she's been holding up the family through this whole thing, and we want to make sure she's recognized as well.
Absolutely. And Dave, how long did you say you've been involved with Semper Fi?
We've been doing this for 15 years. And this we weren't able to do it last year because of the pandemic. We weren't able to host Heroes Week. We're back this year. It's a little bit smaller group because we're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic, but it was a wonderful week for the people who were able to attend.
And you can hear people in the background. It's an exciting time for a lot of people because here you've got veterans. They simply put who their favorite team was, and they get this unique surprise of having an autographed football from their favorite team, from the head coach of that team. It's very special for these folks.
It is, and you think about what the Lettermen have accomplished. The way we work, our guests are identified by the services. They do the vetting to make sure that the person is physically, psychologically prepared to come for the week. So we don't know who they're going to select until 3 or 4 weeks before the event begins, at which time we tell Darryl and the Lettermen the school preference for that individual. That gives them 3 or 4 weeks in the middle of the season to try and get a signed football from the Nick Sabans of the world. And that's quite an ask, and God bless all those coaches and players for supporting us in that regard, because this gift is part of the life-changing experience that they have.
Well, and some of those teams are doing really well right now, and the demands of a coach like, say, Georgia, Kirby Smart at Georgia, or Nick Saban at Alabama, if you talk to one of their secretaries, they'll say that they're covered up throughout the football season and just don't have a lot of time, but they've taken time for this.
They have, and we're eternally grateful to them, because they're the people that make this possible. It's very special.
What does it do for you, Dave?
Well, we get to watch the veteran or the service member go through a significant healing during this week. A lot of times that if they've been severely injured, after they're released from the service, they go home. They didn't get a welcome home parade. They didn't get the banners and the flags and the hugs. We want to give that to them so that they have a sense of closure. And we get to watch the healing that takes place, because these people have been withdrawn oftentimes, and they don't engage with others. And when they come around people who have had like circumstances, they engage with them, and it's therapeutic. It's cathartic for them, because they realize they're not the only one going through this, and the change is dramatic.
Dave, one of the things I want to do, there may be somebody listening out there that hasn't been involved with Semper Fi in the past. Maybe they're a veteran. Maybe it's somebody who simply wants to volunteer and make a difference. How can somebody do that?
Well, they can. We have a website. It's www.semperfictf.org. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, all volunteers. We have no paid staff, and we're always looking for volunteer help. So they can reach out and try and contact us. We'd be glad to bring them on board.
I love that part, because people are always asking about how they can make a difference. During Veterans Day, we want to say thank you to our veterans, but maybe there's another step that another person can take beyond the thank you. Maybe there's love in action, if you will, that they can do something to support veterans, and Semper Fi sounds like a great organization to do that.
Well, thank you, Mark. We appreciate that, and we're trying to do all the right things. I mean, when Darryl reaches out to these coaches and tells them they want a ball, we ensure, and I've written letters to the coaches to say, I assure you that the ball will go to the person for whom it was intended. We're not going to auction it off on eBay or anything like that.
That's exactly right. And I saw these veterans get the footballs today, so we know who had the football in their hands. But, Dave, I appreciate your work, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
When we come back, we're going to have Darryl Fuhrman to join us and talk about Lettermen of the USA. And after his interview, I'll have Coach Randy Ross, who coached at the University of Alabama. I'll share a little bit about my relationship with Coach Randy Ross during that segment. I hope you'll stick with us. You are listening to The Mark White Show, and I'm your host, Mark White.
A little wink, a pat on the back, a big old hug, a little laugh. We we can make a difference. All we have to do is try. Yeah, every day's a chance to change somebody else's life. Let's all do something good today.
It's bow time. You've probably heard folks say, don't call it a comeback. But at Bojangles, we don't like to beat around the bush. So when the sizzling, savory pork chop griller's back in all its tender, marinated, chili lime glory, and you can snap up 2 of them for $6, go ahead, call it a comeback. Get 2 legendary pork chop grillers for just $6, only at Bojangles. It's bow time.
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
Experience the difference at Athens Bible School. The vision and purpose is to provide each student a quality education in a Christ-centered environment to develop the whole person spiritually, mentally, physically, and socially in safe and supportive surroundings. The solid biblical foundation permeates learning and culture in the classrooms and every extracurricular activity.
Thompson Roofing and Construction is a locally owned family business serving the North Alabama and Southern Tennessee area. They are a Better Business Bureau A+ member since 2011 and a GAF Master Elite contractor. Give them a call at 256-952-3309 or check them out on the web at 256roofing.com. They offer free inspections.
Thompson Roofing and Construction.
Mr. Cecil Batchelor is the one that started this business as Dependable Service Center. And even though now it's Green's Dependable Hardware and we're a True Value store, our tagline is still Your Dependable Service Center. We've tried to keep that alive for all these years. Mr. Batchelor really started a good business. We're really excited to be carrying on a long-standing tradition. It's the oldest retail store in the city of Russellville. We're Green's Dependable Hardware, 15220A Highway 43 in Russellville, Alabama. We're right behind McDonald's or right across the street from the hospital. Number is 256-331-0123.
Your Dependable Service Center.
Hi, I'm Crystal Gale, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. And one smile can make a difference. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Someone loves you, I do.
He drives into the city, works extra hard all day. Finishes up early so he can get away. 'Cause there's a blue-eyed kid on second base, wants dad to watch him play.
We just finished up with Lieutenant Colonel Bonwit, and now I have Darryl Fuhrman with me with Lettermen of the USA. We're in Madison, Alabama, as we have recognized veterans with autographed footballs from their favorite teams. What does this day mean to you, Darryl?
Everything. My father was a Marine, served in the Korean War, and he taught me the Marine Corps values of that I have made this organization what it is today. I essentially took his Marine Corps values of honor, duty, and commitment, and I combined them with my mom's Florence Nightingale sensibilities. My mom's been a nurse since the end of the Korean War. She's 89 years old and she's still nursing. And with that background, and Coach Ross, who is like a second father to me, since my dad passed away 16 years ago. My dad wouldn't have believed all this. But I believe that the Lettermen of the USA serves in a major way in that we serve those who have served. And it is today as we were speaking of just a minute ago. It is a huge honor to be a small part of the Semper Fi Community Task Force Hero Week, or Heroes Week, to honor our nation's veterans, those who have served and given it all. Remember, we're just old college athletes. We're just former college football players, current coaches and former coaches who've built a national platform for our nation's veterans and wounded veterans. And we do it with these amazing programs that you know about. But we got some new ones since the last time you and I have talked. We've got Interiors for Heroes, which if you want to talk to somebody, you need to talk to Susan Corney about that. That's an amazing program. She's our project manager for the Lettermen USA. And what we do is we work with the Salvation Army. And I know this is going to be a special one for you because I know how you like to help the very less fortunate of this earth. We work with the Salvation Army substance abuse program. These homeless veterans who are coming out of this program, they're given an apartment and they may have a chair or a mattress and that's it. Susan Cormany, our project manager for the Lettermen USA, comes in with her folks, and by the time she's finished with it, it looks like Southern Accent Magazine.
Wow.
And that's just one of the new programs. Then there's Utilities for Heroes. As you know, I've been doing this now for quite some time, 10 years. Actually be 11 this coming year. And there's always needs. I always say we're like a small drop of water in a giant ocean of despair. We're kind of like Thomas the Tank Engine. We do a whole lot with a very little. And if you're really old like I am, we're like the little Dutch boy holding his finger in the dikes for other organizations that need our help. So with that said, we have many programs and we have many affiliations now with a lot of Marine Corps leagues. And back in September, I had an old Marine, Vietnam era, on a hot September day call me and tell me, Mr. Fuhrman, you're my last hope. My power has been off for days, and I'm $300 in the rear. Mike Oakley, who you may know from Alabama Power, a letterman at Alabama as well, who's part of this organization, and I got that young man's power back on in 3 hours and 45 minutes, and thus was born Utilities for Heroes. The next program we have, as you know about, is Laptops for Heroes, and that's where we find out a Gold Star child and we get them a laptop to help them with their schoolwork, overcoming obstacles 1 yard at a time. And then here's the big one. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Ronald McDonald House.
Absolutely.
I know how much you work with families, those that are misfortunate, suffering from cancer. You know those people, they have to go to these hospitals, and sometimes the family has to stay somewhere at Ronald McDonald House. Did you know that there's a Ronald McDonald House for veterans?
I did not.
It's called the Fisher House, and this is the only state in the Southeast that doesn't have one. So the 2022 gala for the Lettermen USA is going to be an increased effort to increase awareness about the need for a Fisher House in Birmingham, Alabama, because it's where our critical care facilities are and our main VA facility is. We looked at a lot of other places, but Birmingham is where the critical care, I think the amputees are done there and a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. So Birmingham is the perfect place for that. And then just to recap, you know about Homes for Heroes, and you know about also Autographs for Heroes, which you witnessed here today. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is
to see how much it impacts these men and women's lives. You know, I'm often asked by corporate people, well, you know, we really see the how much of an impact the Utilities for Heroes or the Laptops for Heroes or now the Interiors for Heroes does. But, you know, we just really don't understand the Autographs for Heroes and how that would impact a veteran or a wounded veteran's life. And, you know, that's a hard one in a way because it's an emotional thing, and you have to be there to see it. But what they don't understand is, Mark, is that these guys and girls from their units come home and they've been thanked for their service and they've received their parades. They're convalescent at Walter Reed or the San Antonio Burn Unit or the Wounded Warrior Battalion in Quantico, and they don't get a welcome home. That's where me and my guys and girls come in. We give them an autographed football of their favorite college football team, and we thank them for their service, and we welcome them home. And Semper Fi has allowed us to do this for 10 years. They've been doing this for 14 years. And so we are so honored to have them, they've been a mentor to us. Let me just back up and say, yes, we're honored, but they have been a mentor to us. They have showed us from the early days of the Lettermen of the USA and what Colonel Bonwit referred to the Lettermen of the Iron Bowl, how to run a nonprofit organization and to be all volunteer, which is hard to do.
Incredible.
Hard to do. And the final one, is Wheels for Heroes, our personal mobility aids. And I know you know all about that, and maybe even your viewer audience or listening audience knows about that as well. It's just motorized wheelchairs, and of course scooters, and occasionally tracked vehicle or a down payment on a car or a van to transport that personal mobility aid.
And some people who are listening right now may wonder, where does the passion come from within you? We've talked about this. And you've been doing this for over a decade, but there was a point where something changed and you were inspired through your life because you almost lost it.
Well, wow, you brought that up. I may not make it through this now. 811 days ago, I received a second chance on life. And I never knew when I founded this organization if I would be Moses or Joshua. But I wanted to be Paul and finish the race. And that has been the goal since this started. To finish the race to where I can pass the baton to a new generation. Because this organization was not, I know a lot of people say, well, your name's associated with it, but I never founded this organization for Darryl Fuhrman. If I wanted that, I would have put the Fuhrman Foundation on it. I founded it for all former college lettermen and current coaches and former coaches. Bill Clark, UAB head coach Bill Clark, and I had this discussion after the 2020 gala. And I said, I didn't want that. I want this organization to be doing what I told you about in this interview 150 years after I've turned to dust. And if I can accomplish that, as Mother Teresa said, they may tear it down but build it anyway. And I'll leave you with one more thing about my faith. One of my favorite saints is Augustus. And St. Augustus said, faith is to believe in what you do not yet see. The reward for that faith is to see what you believe.
Darryl, as people are listening, what would you say for someone who wants to be a part of Lettermen of the USA? They have heard what you're doing, and they are looking for where their purpose is. They're looking for
contact us. Hey, you can contact Susan Cormany at 205-329-1039. She's our project coordinator for Interiors for Heroes. We have a new partner in Birmingham called Strongbox, and they have donated 5 bins to us for, that we have now 7 of these guys that we have accomplished this with. These homeless veterans, set them up with a Southern accent home, okay? But Susan has 60 on the books. So if you've got something and you can get it to Birmingham, in the Huntsville, Alabama area, that might be tough for us to come up here and get it. But if you can get it down there to us, or if you want to make a monetary donation, hey, $1, $5, $100, whatever, man. Hey, we'll turn that around. We'll make good out of it. I promise you. And we've done it, and we got the track record to prove it.
And 2022 is right around the corner.
It is,
So
man.
this gala,
120 days. It's 120
Eli
days.
Gold's going to be part of it.
Yes,
That's really cool,
The
Darryl.
voice of the Crimson Tide, Eli Gold, is doing us the honor of being our athletic honoree this year. And that's an amazing thing. One of our past honorees, military honorees, is Lieutenant Colonel Dave Bonwit, who has been a mentor to this organization since its start. And then, of course, Bill Clark, Cornelius Bennett, Captain Gary Michael Rose, Medal of Honor recipient. And this year's military honoree is going to be Mike Durant. And it's funny about Mike, as Mike was actually going to be on our military honoree in 2021, but COVID caused us to have to cancel. Right. And so he graciously, even though he's a busy man these days, he graciously said, I will do this. I will be glad to do this. I love what you do. By the way, one thing that nobody knows in your listening audience is Mike Durant is a recipient of an Autographs for Heroes to thank him for his service in the Battle of Mogadishu and what he went through. Mike is from New Hampshire, but he is an Alabama boy who loves Nick Saban, and Coach Nick Saban signed him a football, and I presented it to him through Semper in 2019. So all of it comes full circle at some point in time.
That's awesome. How can people find out about the gala, the details of it, if they want to get tickets, be a part of it?
You just go to lotusa.org, just lotusa.org. You're linked to a lot of our social media. We're on all social media. We're on Lettermen of the USA. We're at Lettermen of the USA on, I think, Instagram and Twitter. We're even on Getter, as they say, the Twitter killer. So we're on that as well. And we are also on Gab. And we're just everywhere. We're on all the platforms. You have to do that when you're doing what we do.
Sounds like it. Darryl, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the Mark White Show, especially on this day where we could present these veterans with these autographed footballs and make a difference in their life today, right now. And this is a special show as we celebrate our veterans, as we honor and recognize their service.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
I have been told by Colonel Bonwit and a lot of the Marines around here that we've been working with for years that this is okay to say, because I never would say Semper Fidelis, because I didn't go through Parris Island, nor did I go through Quantico, or did I go through Camp Pendleton. But my dad was a Marine who passed away 16 years ago, and today's a special day for me because his beloved Corps was 246 years old yesterday. And so I want to say, on behalf of my deceased Marine Corps father, to all you Marines out there, Semper Fidelis.
Thank you, Darryl Fuhrman. Folks, when we come back, we're in Madison, Alabama, and we're recognizing veterans through Lettermen of the USA and Semper Fi. I'm going to have Coach Randy Ross joining us. I hope you'll stick with us. You are listening to The Mark White Show, and I'm your host, Mark White.
Special kind of hero. No ordinary hero. Talking about a hero. Special kind of
Located in Tuscumbia, Alabama, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame honors Alabama's music achievers. You can even go into the recording studio and try out your talents as a singer. That's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, located at 617 Highway 72 West in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call at 256-381-4417. Check them out on the web at alamhof.org. With a house surrounded by pine trees planted in 1961, April and I knew it was time to do something about it. So we called James Paul. With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Is it time for a haircut? Give my friend Philip Butler at Southwind Barbershop a call, located in Rogersville, Alabama. You can call him at 256-247-5658. Make an appointment or just walk in. That's Southwind Barbershop in Rogersville, Alabama.
Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue. I can sing rainbow to you. Listen to your eyes, listen to your eyes. You can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing along with me.
Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue.
Welcome back to the Mark White Show. I'm glad that you can join us today on Veterans Day as we celebrate those who have served our country so well. We have so many out there who have made these sacrifices that are still with us, and then those who are no longer with us. Today, I'm in Madison, Alabama, as we cover Lettermen of the USA and Semper Fi in a special event to recognize veterans. And it's my pleasure and honor to have in front of me Coach Randy Ross. Welcome to the Mark White Show, Coach Ross.
Well, hey, Mark, thank you for having me, man. It's good to see you. I think you said it's been like 24 years since we'd seen each other. So this is you made my day. So this is great.
Absolutely. And what a story. As I looked through the doorway, I thought, he looks very familiar. And then your voice sounded familiar to me, too. And as I mentioned to you, as an 18-year-old, I left Rogersville, Alabama, to become a walk-on kicker at the University of Alabama. My biggest dream as a young person was to kick for Alabama. The Van Tiffen years, Philip Doyle, Peter Kim, all those guys that had an influence on a young kicker like me.
Absolutely.
And I stood in your office, and we talked about the fact that while I was there, my granddad had cancer at the time, and I was just trying to be a part of the team. And you and Coach Dubose allowed me to have a tryout with Coach Danny Pierman, and I'll never forget that. But I realized after that tryout, I wasn't going to be the starting kicker at the University of Alabama. But it was something I had to learn to accept. You know, we have these challenges, we have things that we go for, goals that we might have, but we have to be able to learn how to take those challenges and turn them into something positive. And I believe that's what I've done through the years that I've been here and doing the Mark White Show.
Well, absolutely. Kudos to you because, hey, most guys won't even come try it, you know, and it's sort of intimidating in a place like the University of Alabama to walk out there and kick and imagine kicking in front of 100,000 people. And so, you know, and it's almost like I know every year there's so many young men I get a chance to meet, but the more we talk and the more I'm trying to picture and think back, it's almost like I can almost remember those. I don't forget many of those. Believe it or not, I don't forget many of them.
Right.
So it's almost like it wants to come back to me about everything. And, you know, it's been 24 years. A lot of kids have been in my office since. But, hey, I'm glad we got to hook back up today for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And tell listeners why you're here today to support Lettermen of the USA and Semper Fi.
Well, Lettermen of the USA is a deal that Darryl Fuhrman, a young man that played for me at Southside High School in Gadsden, started this thing I think about 10 years ago. I think this may be the 10th anniversary of him doing this. And what he wanted to do, he went to Alabama, and he had the same ambition you had. He wanted to play at the University of Alabama, and he went down, walked on, was on the team a couple of years. And so he wanted to try to get people who had played college football around the country to try to do something for the veterans. And so one of his ideas that got me involved where I could make a contribution was I could get in the doors of a lot of universities. I had so many contacts, and what Darryl had a vision of doing, he wanted to ask all the veterans, who's your favorite college football team? So whoever their favorite team was, we've been trying to get them a football signed with that logo on it from that university, signed by that head football coach personally to the wounded warrior or the veteran, whoever was receiving it. And so I think he told me last night, over the last 10 years, we've given away like 300 footballs. I didn't realize I'd made that many. And I know some of them they got without my help, but, you know, a lot of them just an opportunity I had to help him with it. And that was just a small part that I could do. And one of the things Darryl and them's doing, too, is they're furnishing apartments for these homeless veterans. And They did a couple in Tuscaloosa that they did really nice. So now that I'm retired, I'm hoping I can help with this more than ever before.
Well, and I think you can, and I've personally experienced what those footballs can do to those veterans, how it makes them feel. I had the honor and privilege of being at Major Wooten's birthday in Huntsville, Alabama, and I believe he turned 100 at that time, or 101. I've celebrated his birthday since he was 99, so he's about to turn 105 in December, and we're going to have a big celebration, Lord willing, for him for his 105th birthday. But that's when I connected with Darryl, was at that event for Major Wooten, and ever since then I've been very impressed with what Darryl has done with Lettermen of the USA to recognize these veterans, because you think about it, it's a simple thing. Obviously, it's a football.
Yep.
Getting that signature and a team that these guys loved when they were young people.
That's right.
Back when they were teenagers. This is something like me sharing my story with you. I was a teenager. Well, guess what? That story is implanted in my mind just like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. And so for these men and women who have served our country and they loved that team, and maybe they were shipped off to serve during that time period. They were caught in the middle of their teen years, and then they find themselves in another country serving our country. And so in some ways, things were taken away from them. A lot of ways things were taken away. And some of those folks didn't come back, and some of them who did come back had major issues. And so I could see where a token like that could be a real booster for them.
Yeah, and I appreciate Darryl. I appreciate his heart towards these veterans. And he just wants to do something to give back to them. And there's not enough people out there like that. I mean, there's not. And we use this term loosely all the time. Well, they're our heroes. Well, they are our heroes, but they're our heroes, not just a word that you use loosely to describe these guys. These guys went out and laid their life on the line for us to be free, that we're sitting here today able to do all this. And so just a small thank you back to them goes a long way, and I know they're appreciative of it. And they don't get told that very often. I mean, there's people that don't appreciate them. And but I just tell you, I grew up in an era where heroes were heroes, and for me to say those guys are heroes, they're definitely that.
Well, and some of those folks won't talk about their military career, and so we don't know. But as you mentioned, with Darryl working with people in Tuscaloosa to find homes for the homeless, I sat at my daughter's Veterans Day event today, and I thought about the veterans that are homeless, those who are the silent people who are out there right now struggling and suffering. And what can we do to let them know that we care, other than saying thank you? Is there a step we can take, to help them? And obviously Lettermen of the USA has figured it out, and they are continuing to work and come up with creative ideas to try to help these veterans, more than just words, but actions.
Yeah, absolutely. And there needs to be, like I said, more people doing this. And for some reason, I don't understand it. In this country, we don't seem to care that much about the veterans. We're going to go allow all kind of things to go on for people who hadn't done anything for the country, but the guys that's made the country what it is, fighting. I wasn't never in the military. My dad was a World War II veteran in the Navy, and so I've always appreciated, I've had a place in my heart, an appreciation for those guys, because I know what he went through. He didn't talk about it a lot, but I knew just from what conversations we had that, it affected him for a lifetime. And it never leaves those guys. And so anything we can do, if this makes their life better for this one day only, it's worth it all. And it's something that people need to take note of. We need to start doing things to appreciate the people that's made this country what it is.
It was the same way with my grandfather, Billy White, who served in the Navy during World War II. He didn't talk about it much, and there were certain things that had a hold of him throughout his life because of what he was battling, because of his service. But it's so important that we recognize those people, and I appreciate the fact that you're now back in the Tuscaloosa area, and I know that you and your wife are coming up with ideas of ways that you can make a difference in the community. So I appreciate that, Coach Ross, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to you today about Lettermen of the USA, Semper Fi, supporting our veterans. I think it's a great message for people listening right now to think about, what can I do? And then take that step. Don't be, like you said, if a young man goes to Tuscaloosa, it can be intimidating. Well, it can be intimidating to go up to somebody and say, I want to help you, or here's something a gift I want to give you to show that kindness. But just get past it. Just get past that intimidation or whatever hurdle you have to get over to make a difference in the lives of one of these veterans.
Absolutely. And I encourage everybody listening to this right now, just find out what you can do to help. And it may not be just veterans. It may be the youth in the community. And, most of the time it's just a trial. You got to go try it and see. And we're never going to accomplish anything if we just sit on our hands all the time. And so, I just encourage people to get involved, whether it's, giving money, time, effort, whatever it is. But there's always a contribution for people that they can make.
Well, we're never going to accomplish anything if we sit on our hands. That sounds like a football type of term. And maybe there's some people out there that need that motivation right now, and they need to have that excitement burn within them to make a difference in the life of a veteran or young people as well. So thank you, Coach Ross, for joining me here on the Mark White Show today.
Well, thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me. It's great to catch up again.
Absolutely. It's been a wonderful experience. Folks, here on the Mark White Show, we're recognizing difference makers like Lettermen of the USA, Semper, Coach Randy Ross and his wife, and where they're wanting to make a difference in Tuscaloosa. And I hope that if this show is making an impact in your life, you'll share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors. Let them know about the Mark White Show and what we're doing to make a difference in our community. You can follow the Mark White Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and subscribe to the Mark White Show podcast via Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Blueberry, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio. You have been listening to another edition of the Mark White Show from Madison, Alabama, as we recognize Lettermen of the USA and Semper Fi. And this is Mark White, encouraging you to find your purpose by making a difference in someone's life today.
Well, let's all do something good.